I lost my virginity to my son's nanny, but he turns out to be a stripper. I was on the verge of stabbing myself as the sound of breaking ceramic jolted me awake faster than my untouched alarm. Downstairs, my 6-year-old son's voice echoes through our too-empty house. "I didn't mean to, Daddy. I was trying to make you breakfast." My life has become a series of small disasters ever since Veronica walked out 14 months ago, leaving me with architectural blueprints, a mountain of debt, and a confused little boy who still sometimes cries for his mommy. "It's okay, buddy," I call, hopping into sweatpants as I make my way downstairs. Nobody's mad. The kitchen looks like a cereal bomb has detonated. Milk pools around shards of my favorite coffee mug, a Father's Day gift, while Leo stands frozen in superhero pajamas, tears welling in eyes that look too much like Veronica's. "I wanted to surprise you," Leo whispers. My heart cracks a little more. "That was very thoughtful," I say, carefully lifting Leo away from the glass. "Let's get you ready for school, and I'll clean this up." "Miss Patty won't be here today," Leo says, his voice small. "She called last night and says she quit." I freeze. What? "She said I asked too many questions." That's the 4th babysitter in 3 months. I checked my watch. 7:15 a.m. I have a client presentation at 9 o'clock, and my boss has made it crystal clear that family emergencies are becoming concerningly frequent. After 45 minutes later, I drop Leo at school 20 minutes late, send a desperate email postponing my presentation, and sit in my car scrolling through nanny profiles on my phone. My finger pauses over a photo that makes me blink twice. Nate Carter, 24, art major, good with children. The profile picture shows a young man with warm hazel eyes and an easy smile. Dark curls falling across his forehead as he kneels beside a child with paint-covered hands. Male nannies aren't common, but I'm beyond caring about convention. Something in Nate's expression, genuine, warm, capable, makes me tap the contact button before I could overthink it. "Mr. Henderson." The voice that answers is deeper than expected, steady and pleasant. "This is Nate Carter. I just received your message about the nanny position. How soon can you start?" I blurt, professionalism abandoned. A soft laugh comes through the line. "I'd like to meet you and your child first, if that's all right. Perhaps this afternoon?" After 4 hours. 4 hours later, I watch in astonishment as my normally shy son shows Nate his collection of dinosaur figurines, chattering animatedly while the young man listens with genuine interest. "This one's a Parasaurolophus," Leo explains importantly. "They could make sounds with their heads." "Like a natural trumpet." Nate nods, examining the toy. "That's pretty amazing. Did you know some scientists think they could communicate with those crests?" Leo's eyes widen. "Really?" I lean against the doorframe, something warm spreading through my chest that I haven't felt in years. Nate glances up, catching my gaze, and a small smile passes between us. Conspiratorial, understanding. By dinner, Nate has the job. By bedtime, Leo has declared him the best nanny ever. And by midnight, I lie awake wondering why the thought of Nate sleeping in my guest room makes my heart beat just a little faster than normal. After a few weeks. 3 weeks later, my life has transformed. Mornings run smoothly. Leo is happy, thriving even. The house is organized, and I find myself lingering over coffee, watching Nate's graceful movements as he packs Leo's lunch or helps with homework. Tonight, though, I'm a wreck. Veronica called, threatening to reduce my already limited custody, claiming my career instability is concerning. Then, my biggest client pulled out of a project 6 months in the making. I sit in my darkened home office, an expensive bottle of whiskey open on my desk, when a soft knock interrupts my brooding. "Hey," Nate says, leaning against the doorframe. "Leo's asleep. Thought you might want company." I gesture vaguely at a chair, pouring a second glass without asking. Nate accepts it wordlessly, his eyes studying me with that quiet intensity that makes me feel simultaneously exposed and understood. "Rough day?" Nate asks. "Rough life," I laugh bitterly. Ex-wife drama, work disaster, the usual middle-aged crisis package. You're hardly middle-aged. Tell that to my hairline. I take another swallow. Tell that to Veronica, who's dating a 28-year-old CrossFit instructor. Her loss, Nate says simply. 3 drinks in, my filter has abandoned me entirely. You know what the worst part is? I can't even remember the last time someone touched me. Really touched me, outside of Leo's goodnight hugs. I laugh, the sound hollow. I'm 38, and I feel like I'm 100. Unwanted, undesirable, like I've forgotten how to be anything but a dad and a paycheck. Nate watches me, those hazel eyes unreadable in the low light. God, I'm so desperate. I continue, words slurring slightly. I'd probably pay someone to, you know. Hell, I'd pay you to take my virginity all over again, Nate. How much for that, huh? I laugh, expecting embarrassment or a polite change of subject. Instead, after a beat of intense silence, Nate looks me directly in the eyes, his expression unreadable. Who needs you to pay? The question hangs in the air like smoke. I feel my laughter die in my throat, replaced by something electric that crawls up my spine. What? I stammer. Nate sets his glass down carefully. Next Friday, if you're serious. I stare, certain I've misheard, but Nate's gaze doesn't waver, and suddenly the room feels too hot, too small, and far too charged with possibilities I've never allowed myself to consider. I should check on Leo, Nate says softly, standing. At the door, he pauses. Think about it. No pressure, no judgment, just an offer. The door closes and I sit frozen, my heart hammering against my ribs. A week later. The following week is torture. I vacillate between convinced I imagined the entire exchange and acutely aware of every movement Nate makes. The way his shirt pulls across his shoulders when he reaches for something high, the flash of skin when he stretches, the gentle patience in his hands as he helps Leo with homework. Nate remains professionally warm but distant, giving no indication of our late-night conversation. Until Friday morning, when Leo is safely on the school bus, and Nate casually mentions, I'll put him to bed early tonight. He'll be tired from the field trip. The simple statement sends my heart into my throat. By 8:30 p.m., Leo is asleep, the house quiet except for my thundering pulse. I've been pacing in the house, feeling simultaneously ridiculous and terrified. I've changed my outfit 3 times before settling on jeans and a simple button-down, as if this were some bizarre first date rather than whatever it actually is. At 9 p.m. exactly, Nate appears in the living room doorway. Gone is the casual nanny in comfortable clothes. This Nate wears dark jeans that fit perfectly and a forest green Henley that makes his eyes look deeper, more mysterious. You don't have to go through with this, Nate says quietly. We can forget it happened. No consequences. I swallow hard. And if I want to? Nate's eyes flicker back to me. Then we establish boundaries. This is separate from my job. It doesn't affect how I care for Leo. And afterwards, we're adults about it. I nod, unable to form words. Nate carefully looks at me, the intensity of his eyes already stripping my clothes and my consciousness. And then, before I have the time to process, he steps closer. As Nate's hands find my jaw, tilting my face upward, time seems to slow. His eyes search mine, asking a silent question. When's the last time someone kissed you, Edward? He whispers. 3 years, I admit. Maybe 4. His expression softens with understanding. That's criminal, he murmurs, before closing the distance between us. The first touch of Nate's lips is gentle, almost questioning. I remain frozen, overwhelmed by sensation and the surreal nature of the moment. Nate's other hand finds my waist, pulling me closer, and something breaks loose inside me. I respond with years of pent-up longing, my fingers threading through his dark curls. What begins as tentative quickly deepens. Nate walks me backwards until my shoulders meet the wall, his body pressing against mine in a way that makes my breath catch. His kisses are unhurried but thorough, as if he's mapping territory he intends to know by heart. We should. I gesture vaguely toward my bedroom, suddenly shy despite my desire. Nate smiles against my lips. Lead the way. In my bedroom, bathed in the soft glow of lamplight, Nate undresses me with careful hands. Each button of my shirt in patience, each newly revealed inch of skin met with appreciative touches. He proceeds to systematically dismantle every wall I've built around myself since Veronica left. When his fingertips trace the contours of my chest, I shiver. You're beautiful, he whispers against my collarbone, and the simple affirmation nearly undoes me. I reach for him with newfound boldness, tugging his shirt over his head to reveal the lean dancer's physique beneath. My hands explore the warm expanse of his back, feeling the subtle shift of muscle as he moves. I've thought about this since that day, I confess. More than I should have. I just didn't know what it meant. Me too, Nate admits, surprised by his own honesty. He lowers me onto the mattress, following to hover above me. What does it mean now? Instead of answering, I pull him down for another kiss, deeper and more urgent than before. Our bodies align, and the first real contact draws a sound from my throat I barely recognize as my own. Nate's movements are deliberate, his hands sure as they travel lower. When he takes me in his palm, I arch into his touch, starved for contact. Let me take care of you, he murmurs, his voice a rumble against my skin. What follows is a revelation. Nate learns my body with the same attentiveness he shows my son. Patient, thorough, responsive. He discovers places I didn't know could bring pleasure, draw sounds from me I thought I'd forgotten how to make. Nate holds my gaze as he moves above me, his eyes conveying something that words would only diminish. I reach up to touch his face, suddenly overwhelmed by the intimacy of this moment. Stay with me, I whisper, not sure if I mean tonight or something more. In the aftermath, lying breathless and spent, I feel reborn, seen, desired. I turn to say something, I'm not sure what, but Nate is already gathering his clothes, his expression unreadable. Nate, get some sleep, Edward, Nate says softly. I'll see you in the morning. The door closes quietly, leaving me alone with sensations I'd forgotten and feelings I'd never anticipated. After a few weeks, you need to get out, man, James insists a week later, practically dragging me toward the entrance of an upscale club. One night, no dad duties, just be a human being for a few hours. Leah was with my mother for the day, and I've been avoiding being alone with Nate since our night together, confused by the intensity of my own feelings and Nate's return to professional normalcy. Maybe James is right. Maybe a guy's night at his brother's bachelor party is exactly what I need. Fine, I concede, but I'm not staying late. The club is higher end than I expected, with dark wood paneling and amber lighting. Women in cocktail dresses mingle with men in business casual, while servers in tight black uniforms deliver colorful drinks. What kind of bachelor party is this? I ask, accepting a whiskey from James. The best kind? James grins. Wait till you see the main event. My brothers spared no expense. After a few hours. 2 hours and 3 drinks later, I'm actually enjoying myself. The music is good, the alcohol is excellent, and for once I'm not thinking about work, or parenting, or my complicated feelings for my son's nanny. Then the lights dim, and a spotlight hits the small stage at the front of the room. A woman in a sequined dress steps forward. Ladies and gentlemen, she purrs into a microphone. It's the moment you've been waiting for. Please welcome our headliner, the one, the only, Midnight Eros. The crowd erupts as a figure strides onto the stage. My glass slips from my fingers, shattering on the floor. Nate, my Nate, stands in the spotlight. But this isn't the gentle nanny who reads bedtime stories and makes perfect peanut butter sandwiches. This is a stranger with Nate's face, dressed in tearaway formal wear, his body moving with hypnotic confidence to a pulsing beat. Holy shit! James laughs, oblivious to my shock. That guy is incredible. My sister-in-law specifically requested him. Apparently, he's legendary in these circles. I can't speak. I watch paralyzed as Nate, Midnight Eros, moves across the stage with athletic grace, pieces of clothing strategically removed to reveal more and more skin. Women scream, men whistle, and dollar bills flutter through the air. Then Nate's eyes find me in the crowd. For a split second, something flashes across his face. Surprise, perhaps, or defiance, before the professional mask returns. But his gaze lingers, and as he executes a particularly sensual move, I could swear it's performed just for me. Jealousy, arousal, and betrayal war in my chest. I watch hands reach for Nate, see money tucked into the waistband of what little clothing remains, and feel physically ill. This man has been in my home, with my child, in my bed, and yet now he is a complete stranger. I have to go, I mutter to James, pushing through the crowd toward the exit. What? Why? James calls after me, but I'm already gone. After a few hours, I paced my living room for 3 hours, alternating between fury and confusion. When the front door finally opens at 2 a.m., I'm waiting. Have a good night at work? I ask coldly. Nate freezes, his backpack halfway to the floor. Edward? You're a stripper, I say, the words bitter on my tongue. A fucking stripper! Nate straightens, his jaw tight. Yes, I'm a dancer. And yes, I work in a strip club to earn. For what? College tuition? Or just enjoying making fools of desperate people? My sister has lupus, Nate says quietly. The kind that attacks her kidneys. Insurance covers some of it, but the medications alone are over $3,000 a month. My parents lost their house trying to keep her alive, and I dropped out of school to help. So, yes, Edward, I dance. I make more in one weekend than most people make in 2 weeks, and every cent goes to keeping Lily alive. I feel the wind leave my sails. Why didn't you tell me? Tell you what? That your son's caregiver takes his clothes off for money? That would have gone over well in the interview. Nate runs a hand through his hair. I keep my world separate for a reason. What I do on stage isn't who I am with Leo, or even who I was with you. And what exactly were you with me? I ask, my voice low. Nate's eyes meet mine, raw and honest. Myself. Just me, Edward. Something breaks between us, tension snapping into motion. I'm not sure who moves first, but suddenly Nate is against the wall, my mouth on his, hands desperately seeking skin. It's nothing like our first night. This is hungry, almost angry, fueled by jealousy and revelation. I wanted them to touch you. I growl against Nate's throat. I watched them want you. I never touched them back. Nate gasps as my teeth graze his collarbone. Stage rules. No contact. You're mine tonight, I demand, surprising myself with my possessiveness. Not theirs. Nate's eyes darken. Prove it. After a few weeks. The following weeks create a new normal. I can't fire Nate. Leo adores him, and truthfully, so do I. But our relationship evolves into something complex and unnameable. By day, Nate is Leo's devoted nanny. By night, after Leo sleeps, we explore each other with increasing intimacy. I learned that Nate had been a dance major before dropping out to support his family. I discovered his dream of opening a community dance studio for underprivileged kids. I watched Nate nurse Leo through a fever with tender competence, and I quietly help Nate study for the online courses he's still taking. One night, I find Nate sketching costume designs at the kitchen table. "These are incredible," I say, studying the intricate drawings. "You're really talented." Nate shrugs. "Just a hobby." "It could be more," I insist. "Have you ever thought about costume designing as a career? I have a friend in theater production who—" "I can't afford to dream right now," Nate interrupts gently. "Lily's treatments come first." I want to argue, to offer help, but I sense Nate's pride would reject it. Instead, I kiss him softly and say, "Someday then." After a few weeks, rain lashes against the windows as thunder shakes the house. Leo has finally fallen asleep after an hour of stories and reassurances that the storm can't hurt him. Exhausted, I make my way to the living room where Nate sits reading by lamplight, his feet tucked beneath him on the couch. He looks up as I enter, marking his place with a finger. "He's down?" "Finally," I sigh, collapsing beside him. 3 stories, 2 glasses of water, and 1 monster chick under the bed. Nate's laugh is warm as he sets his book aside. The price of good parenting. Worth every minute. I agree, though my eyes feel heavy with fatigue. Another crack of thunder rattles the windows, and the lights flicker once before steadying. Nate shifts closer, his arm sliding around my shoulders in a gesture that feels both protective and seeking protection. "Not a fan of storms?" I ask, noticing the tension in his body. "Not these kinds," he admits. "Reminds me of nights in the hospital with Lily, when the power would threaten to go out and I'd worry about her machines." The simple vulnerability in his admission touches something deep within me. I turn to face him, cupping his cheek in my palm. "You're not alone anymore," I tell him. "Neither of you is." His eyes, amber in the lamplight, search mine. "I'm still getting used to that." "Me too," I confess, but I'm starting to like it. When our lips meet, it's with gentle certainty. What begins as comfort deepens into something more as the storm rages outside. Nate's hands find their way beneath my shirt, warm against my skin as they trace familiar paths. "Here?" I ask, glancing toward the hallway where Leo sleeps. "He's out cold," Nate assures me, already working on my buttons, "and the thunder will cover any noise." The implication sends heat coursing through me. I pull him closer, suddenly desperate for his touch. "Show me," I challenge. Nate's smile turns wicked as he sinks to his knees before me. "With pleasure." What follows is an exquisite torture of patience and precision. Nate takes me apart with deliberate skill, his mouth and hands working in tandem until I'm gripping the couch cushions, fighting to stay quiet. When I finally shatter, it's with his name caught between clenched teeth, my body arching toward his touch. Before I can recover, Nate rises, straddling my lap with fluid grace. "My turn," he whispers, guiding my hands to his waist. When Nate comes undone above me, his head thrown back and throat exposed, I think he's never looked more beautiful. Afterwards, we stay entangled on the couch, listening to the storm gradually recede. Nate's head rests on my chest, his breathing synced with mine. "Stay," I murmur into his hair, meaning more than just tonight. His answer is to press closer, his arm tightening around my waist. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. In that moment, with rain gentle against the windows and Nate warm in my arms, I realize we've built a home together. A place of trust, desire, and growing love. A few months later, life settles into a strange harmony until the day Veronica shows up unannounced, her eyes narrowed with suspicion. "I need to speak with you privately," she says, glancing pointedly at Nate, who is helping Leah with a science project. In my office, she produces a manila envelope. "Care to explain these?" Inside are photographs, me at the club, and several clear shots of midnight Eros performing.
You're frequenting strip clubs now? With our son at home?
It was one night for James's brother's bachelor party, I defend. And Leo was perfectly safe with
who? Another random babysitter? You can't keep cycling through caregivers, Edward. It's destabilizing.
Actually, Leo has had the same nanny for months now. He's thriving. Veronica's perfectly sculpted eyebrow rises.
He? You hired a male nanny?
Before I can respond, Leo bounds into the room.
Mom, you have to see my volcano! Nate helped me make it, and it really explodes!
Nate? Veronica echoes.
He's the best nanny ever!
Leo continues enthusiastically.
And he can dance amazing! He showed me how to do a pirouette!
I watch horror dawn on Veronica's face as she looks from the photos to the doorway where Nate stands, his expression carefully neutral. Leo, why don't you and Nate finish your volcano while I talk to your mom? I suggest. Once they're gone, Veronica explodes.
Are you insane? You hired a male stripper to watch our son?
I hired a qualified childcare provider who happens to have a second job, I correct.
A second job taking his clothes off for money. I'm calling my lawyer. This is exactly the kind of negligent judgment that justifies full custody. Veronica! No, Edward, I'm not letting my son be raised around sex workers and God knows what else you're exposing him to.
Neither of us notices Nate standing in the doorway until he speaks. I'll pack my things. I turn, panic rising. Nate, no! It's okay, Nate says softly. I won't let you lose Leo because of me. I'll disappear. He's gone before I can respond, leaving me facing Veronica's triumphant expression.
Well, that solves that, she says. I'll have my lawyer drop the new custody agreement.
Something snaps in me. A lifetime of accommodating Veronica, of putting everyone else first, of denying my own happiness. No, I say quietly. Excuse me? I said no. I straighten. Nate is my family. He's a good man working an honest job. 2 honest jobs to save his sister's life. He loves Leo and Leo loves him. If you try to take my son because of this, I will fight you with everything I have. You can't be serious. I've never been more serious. And before you climb too high on that moral high ground, Veronica, let's remember who left her family for her fitness coach. Let's remember who missed Leo's kindergarten graduation for a spa weekend. Let's remember who hasn't paid a single medical bill or attended one parent-teacher conference in over a year. Veronica pales. You wouldn't dare bring that up in court. I don't want to, I say honestly. I want Leo to have both parents in his life. But I'm not giving up my son, and I'm not giving up Nate. Not for your outdated moral judgments or anyone else's. I stride past her, taking the stairs 2 at a time until I reach Nate's room, where he is methodically packing his few possessions. After a few minutes, "Don't go," I say from the doorway. Nate pauses, a folded shirt in his hands. You heard her. She'll take Leo. Let her try. I step closer. I meant what I said down there. You're family now, Nate. To both of us. Edward, I can't risk losing you, I interrupt. These past months, you've brought life back into this house. Into me. I don't care what you do for a living. I care about you. I'm falling in love with you, Nate. Nate's hands tremble. I can't ask you to choose me over your son. You're not asking. I'm choosing both of you. I take the shirt from Nate's hands, toss it aside, and pull him close. Stay. Please. Our kiss is different this time. Not desperate or hungry, but a promise. A beginning. Downstairs, Veronica watches us descend together, hand in hand. Her eyes narrow, but before she can speak, James appears at the front door. Sorry to interrupt, he says, not looking sorry at all. Edward, you left your jacket at my place. He turns to Veronica with exaggerated surprise. Veronica! Oh, long time no see. How's Chad? Or was it Brad? The fitness or massage guy with the, interesting weekend hobby? Veronica's face drains of color. How did you... Small world. James shrugs, his meaning clear. She isn't the only one with secrets that could be exposed. After a tense silence, Veronica gathers her purse. We'll discuss this later, Edward. At the door, she pauses. Leo seems happy. That's what matters, I suppose. When she's gone, I turn to Nate. That was unexpected. Not really. James grins. I've been waiting years to use that information. You good here? Because I have a date with a very understanding bartender. After a few minutes. Alone at last, Nate and I stand in the quiet house. The future is suddenly wide open before us. What happens now? Nate asks. I smile. Now we figure it out. Together. 6 months later. And that's how light refracts through a prism, Nate explains, helping Leo with his science homework at the kitchen table. I watch from the doorway, coffee still in hand, still sometimes amazed by the turn my life has taken. Lily, Nate's sister, is responding well to her new treatment regimen, one that my insurance now covers, since Nate has officially moved from nanny to partner in our household. Veronica eventually backed down from her custody threats, especially after seeing how happy Leo is with our unconventional family. She even manages civil conversation with Nate during drop-offs, which I consider a minor miracle. Most significantly, Nate has reduced his dancing to occasional special events, focusing instead on the community arts program he and I are developing together. A dance and design studio for at-risk youth, funded in part by my firm. All done, Leo announces, slamming his science book closed. Can I watch TV before bed? One show, Nate agrees, ruffling Leo's hair. Then teeth brushed and pajamas. As Leo races to the living room, I approach, sliding my arms around Nate's waist. Have I mentioned lately that you're amazing with him? Once or twice. Nate smiles, leaning back against my chest. Have I mentioned lately that I'm ridiculously in love with you? You could stand to mention it more often. I murmur, pressing a kiss to Nate's neck. Later, with Leo asleep and the house quiet, I find Nate at the desk in our now shared bedroom, sketching designs for costumes for the studio's first production. Those are incredible, I say, massaging Nate's shoulders. The kids are going to love them. Nate sets down his pencil and pulls me onto his lap. You know, he says thoughtfully, I never did give you that private dance I promised. My pulse quickens. I thought Midnight Eros was semi-retired. For the general public, yes. Nate grins, his hand sliding under my shirt. But for you, I think I can make an exception. My rates are much better now, Mr. Henderson. Nate whispers against my lips. I only charge in kisses. That, I murmur, already working on Nate's buttons, is a price I'm happy to pay. As clothing falls away and we move together toward the bed, I reflect that some mistakes, like drunkenly asking your son's nanny to have sex, turn out to not be mistakes at all, but the beginning of the greatest adventure of your life. The end. Would you consider dating someone with a past like Nate's? Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become a part of our Rainbow Force, and stay wholesome.